Our final contestant is the Otago Southland regional winner. She's the deputy head girl, captain of the Senior A debating team. In 2010 won the Cup for Best Speaker in the senior debates among Catholic schools in Otago and Southland. She's gained academic blues in 2010 and 2011. From Kavanagh College in Dunedin, please welcome Lucy Henderson.
COD, Call of Duty. These honourable young men were called to protect their families, to fight for their friends, to serve their nation, to play on their Xbox. Call of Duty, a term which today is sadly mistaken for a modern warfare game. A fun, exciting and competitive game. War has been turned into a game. Bought for $99.95 at your local store. Available then for you to play whenever you feel like it. What would these young men say if they saw this today? It surely wouldn't be, move over and hand me a controller. War on the whole was not enjoyable. No one was safe. Soldiers risked their lives on a daily basis. These honourable young men who fought deserve to be recognised and commemorated for the hardships they endured. Lest we forget. But how do we remember them? When I see the 49 men's names on my school's roll of honour, I see the courage. I see the sacrifice. I see the loss. And then I can begin to understand the Second World War. John Wilson, gunner, served in Libya, died aged 23, buried in the Acroma War Cemetery. Kevin A. Toomey, writer on the HMS Neptune, died aged 29, sunk off Tripoli. All of this is published on the Kavanagh College Roll of Honour. We are shown more than just a name and a date of death. We see a person. They have been given an identity. We know where they went, what they did, their rank, their age, and where they are buried now. These were ordinary young men who attended the Christian Brothers School. They had goals and aspirations for their future. They went to war not knowing that there was only a slim chance that they'd return. Not a single one of these men did. Imagine losing 49 of your friends to war. That's 2 classrooms of people. Gone. That's almost half of Year 13 at Kavanagh College. Gone. It's 49 seats that will be empty at the next assembly. These were ordinary young men who had their futures stolen. He was the man who was talked about in whispers. John Francis Mitchell's photo hung on the wall at his family's household. This was the only form of his memory which lived on. John Mitchell was a Lance Bombardier in the 6th Field Regiment of General Freyberg's Artillery Division. He went away to war in 1940 when his son Brian Mitchell was only 18 months old. He never returned. All Brian has to remember his father by is a small bag of photos along with a few medical and service records from the army. His mother refused to speak about his father. The grief was all too much for her to deal with. It saddens me to think that I would almost know as much as Brian does about his father, just by merely looking through this small bag of records. He had never seen his father's name recognised anywhere. So you can imagine the smile on his face was priceless. When I asked him how he felt when he heard his father was to be on the Kavanagh College Roll of Honour, he was proud. He was chuffed. He was just simply happy. Finally, his father's sacrifices were to be remembered. They were closer to me than my own brothers. We were a family. This is how Duncan Pete, a high-ranking Lance Corporal, as he likes to refer to himself, describes his mates in his platoon. Memories of the war do not always equate to sadness. The friendships formed during the war were the one thing that was indestructible. These men lived together, fought together, and on the odd occasion, laughed together. This laughter was what helped keep them sane. One day, after marching for hours, we stopped for a rest. Most of us were so exhausted, we fell asleep instantly. Most of us. You see, this one joker, he found a green snake slithering through the grass. So what does he do? He picks up the snake, carries it off to the bushes. Here he finds a stick about this long, roughly the same length as the snake, skins the snake, including the head, and wraps it around this stick. I woke up to a snake's beady eyes looking into mine that morning. Now later on, we're all on the truck. The sergeant, lieutenant, and the driver, they're in the front, while us fellas are in the back. So what does this joker do? He gets out his snake on a stick, slowly reaches around, and puts it through the driver's window. Now you can imagine the driver got a hell of a fright and drove off the road. So they were pointing and yelling in the front, while us fellas are having a good old laugh in the back. Duncan still laughs when he tells this story. It is one of the few times he can smile when speaking of the war. By talking to veterans, we gain so much more understanding than a board would ever tell us. When we walk into Monticello Rest Home, we see the living memory. War should be remembered for what it was: suffering, hardship, trust, friendship, death. Not an Xbox game where you can always start over if things aren't going your way. Lest we forget.